Hello, all you lovely people, and welcome to another enhanced edition, because I just felt like doing two this week. Today, we're taking a look at another Cyberverse figure, because I just can't get enough of that, apparently, and that is Cyberverse Soundwave. Specifically the one that has the laser beak gimmick. I don't remember the exact name of this, but if I do remember it, it'll be down in the description. Point is, it's Soundwave. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about this mode because I'm almost done with Season 3 of Cyberverse as of this recording, because I finally started watching it, as I mentioned in the last video, and I have yet to actually see an alt mode for Soundwave. Only ever seen him in his robot mode. So everything I did was basically in service of the robot mode. I added a little bit here and there, just a few minor details for the vehicle mode specifically, but because I didn't have a reference to go off of, and because we never get one in the show, at least I don't think we do, I didn't put a lot of importance on it, because this was also, this was a bit of a challenge. Not as much of a challenge as Hot Rod, but there was definitely certain aspects to this that took me a bit to figure out how to go about doing stuff. And there are a couple of things that I feel like I fudged up, but live and learn. So yeah, looking at the vehicle mode really quick, because again, this isn't the important mode for this figure, because Soundwave didn't really do the... I already explained all this. I added a couple of small details, like I painted gray around the inside of the wheels for the rims, just to add a little bit of color, and also it seemed accurate based on what we saw of the wheels on his robot mode. And I painted a couple of small details for the truck, like the little red dots here, the little yellow arrows here, the yellow for the grille, yellow up there, these little red lights in the front. I painted these bits yellow. I'll explain more what my thinking was when I get to robot mode, but I painted these yellow, and I kind of regret doing that. Painted yellow on the top of this thing here, just because I thought it would look good. I mean, most of these details that I was pointing out, I did because I thought it would look good, and not because it's show referential, because I didn't see an alt mode in the show, like I said. But yeah, that is pretty much all I'm going to say for the vehicle mode. I mean, you can see there are definitely other things I painted in the vehicle mode, but I want to leave those for the robot mode, because that's the whole reason I painted these things. So now that we're looking at Soundwave's robot mode, we can talk about that. I love how this looks. There are absolutely things I would like to change or wish I could have done better, but I'm not gonna, because I've spent enough time working on this guy. And again, I don't really have the confidence and skill to do certain things, so there are certain things that I did leave. But the difference here is just incredible. Popping up the before picture, I hate talking about this because I feel like it sounds like I'm full of myself, but really I feel as though the differences here are pretty intense, in a good way. But yeah, this was a challenge. One of the biggest issues that I had with this was the fact that Soundwave's legs look nothing, well, not nothing, but a lot of the design of Soundwave's legs for this figure are not show accurate at all. His shins, his knees, his feet, none of that looks show accurate. So I kind of had to interpret, let's say, because the molding's just not there. It doesn't look right. So I had to sort of take what was there in the show model and try and find a way to interpret those colors to make a vaguely similar feel in his legs from the knees down. It's not perfect, but I definitely think, if nothing else, it's better than what was originally there, which was practically nothing. That's why I added the white for the vents here, and I did the yellow here, and the white box with the black trim. This is, I feel, meant to evoke, when it's together, is meant to evoke his tape deck chest. I don't know why they did that. Maybe it was just an old design, but you can see that he's got the tape deck chest here, and that wasn't, like, he never had an alt mode in the show, so why did they? I just don't get it. But I also painted the insides of the legs to bring a little bit more color in there. So I did the white lines here and also the black here to kind of make it look like his foot, at least when you're looking at it from an angle like this, to kind of make it look like his foot goes more around. For these yellow bits here, I painted these because there are these yellow details in Soundwave's leg in the show, these like yellow lines. And I painted these, and then after I had painted them, I realized those lines are actually molded in his legs here. So what I should have done was paint those lines yellow. But by that point, I didn't really think I could successfully strip all of this yellow paint off of this part here, because like this is several coats of yellow paint, at least 2, maybe 3. And I just didn't think that I'd be able to strip that off and then paint the yellow there, and I didn't want to have the yellow there plus that yellow because it seemed like it'd be too much. So I just left it as is and kind of bummed out, but I feel like in terms of the way that the color's supposed to be distributed on his legs, ignoring the fact that the pattern's wrong, I feel like this is okay. I also feel like when you're looking at this toy right now, your eye's more drawn to the upper body, so this is serviceable. Everything on the thighs that is not this gray plastic is something that I painted, so the black in the knees, the red with the little yellow triangle dots on the tops for the thighs there, the black lines going all the way around, the black detailing up in the hips on the front and back. That doesn't want to stay together. I painted his chest, kind of. I just basically painted the window because this whole thing was originally black, and that was fine, but this is supposed to be the window, not this entire thing. So by painting this blue, I feel like that makes his tape deck chest look a little bit more properly like a tape deck. And yeah, I mean, when it opens, then you see that it's like all black, but at that point Laserbeak is popping out. It's dynamic, it's fun, it's fine. The black up in these bits here, and I did some detailing on the face, which we'll talk about in a second, but I also, one thing that I did not do was his neck. I really wanted to get in there and paint his neck black, but there's no good way for me to do that. I don't have a steady enough hand and a small enough brush to just get in there and paint the neck as is. So as much as I would love to paint the neck black, I just don't have it in me to do it. What I did do though for the head was I continued the gray around the sides like it's supposed to, added the black in the little vents there, and added little gray to the triangle right above his eyes. For the thing on his shoulder, there's again that yellow bit, but I also painted the black and red stripe going along the side, and I did the little thing in the front here because originally that was gray. It was just a gray thing kind of going around the little dots. Maybe the dots were red, I don't know, but it was wrong basically. So what I did was I went in, painted the thing black, and then dotted the little, whatever you want to call them. For the arms, I painted his fingers in black and his little around the fingers fist area in blue. And the blue does not match the blue plastic, similar to what's going on in the chest here, but it's close enough. And because it's separated, I feel like it's not as apparent that the shade doesn't quite match. I also painted, like any color you see on the forearm I painted, so the red line going around the entire thing, the black on the sides for his speakers, all the red and black detailing here, and even the black on the bicep. That was all stuff that I painted, and this whole thing in here was, oh, that was a pain. And lastly, there's the feature that I think I'm proudest to have completed on this Soundwave, and that is his shoulders, of all things. I love how I was able to bring out the Soundwave detail here with that white on black and the little red bit up there. There's also the little black triangle up there. I painted that too. This in particular, I'm super duper proud of because this was also a challenge. I tried a couple of different techniques. The one that ended up working for me was I painted the back portion in black, not worrying too much about painting over things because I was going to do the red and the white on top of it. Painted the red, painted the white, and at first I tried to be really careful and not go into the cracks there, but it was pretty much impossible given my current skill set and the brushes I'm using. So I painted the vague shape and also kind of went over the lines, and then I went in with a toothpick and actually carved out the white paint that had gone into the grooves. And that cleaned it out surprisingly well. I'm just super proud of that. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Again, in general, I know there are things that I probably could have done that I didn't. Like, I didn't paint any of the details in this little grid thing, either one that's behind his head. I didn't paint the neck, like I mentioned, but explained why. Probably could have done the backs of his shoulders and his back. There are definitely some things that I left off, and some things that I either was too lazy to do or didn't have the confidence or skill to do. But I think even with those limitations, and even with the things that I wasn't able to do, or the fact that I did not do certain things as clean as I would like, I think this is pretty impressive. If I'm being honest, I do think that this is pretty impressive, even though I totally understand it's not perfect. It's still got all the limitations of the toy, like the fact that the articulation is very limited, the detailing's wrong in a few places, and the gimmick's fun, but Laserbeak himself is just a big old Energon bird. Even with all of that, I just really like how this turned out. I'm super proud of my Soundwave. It took a lot of effort, but I think it was a worthwhile project. Now I just need to finally sit down and try and figure out how to interpret Hammerbite, because as much as I love that toy is not show accurate. Also, as of this recording, I have RC in the process of being shipped out. I had her pre-ordered on BBTS, and she's in my pile of loot, and I'm currently waiting for them to process shipping my pile of loot. So maybe by the time this goes up, I'll actually have RC in hand and have started painting her, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting RC and starting to customize her. I'm probably going to customize her immediately and not even bother doing a figure study video, because I'm just so excited to paint that figure. But that's enough rambling about stuff that isn't this toy, and I think I've rambled about this toy enough as is. So yeah, that has been Cyberverse whatever Soundwave with the Laserbeak popping out gimmick. Again, the name will be in the description if I actually take the time to look it up. So I'm curious to know what you all think of this, either the toy in general or the custom. Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. And please, stay fabulous.